Hi everyone. Today is Wednesday. It's May 27th. So let's check our countdown. May 27th. Count with me. How many days do we have left in first grade? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's check our countdown. How many days until the end of first grade? We have 5. And when I erase one of my tally marks, what group do I have here? 5 days. Okay, are you ready for our challenge? Here's our Wednesday challenge. Let's see what we've got. Remember, you can always go on Seesaw and do the challenges from the other days if you haven't done them yet. These are all fun, and I think you're going to enjoy them. Okay, here we go. It's Wednesday, so this is great. We got a math challenge for today. It's the Race to 100 challenge. I bet you can imagine what this one's going to be. So for this challenge, I want you to find 100 of something in your house. What do you think you could count to get up to 100? Think about some of the things we've been using for our math lessons. Maybe some cereal, maybe some beans, maybe some pennies, maybe some... What other ideas do you have? Marbles, pieces of Lego, maybe some rocks. They don't all have to be the same thing, but I want you to try to count 100 of something. What's something that might help you make it easier to count 100? If we're just counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, it's going to take a long time, right? But what if we make groups of 10? Or we could make groups of 5. Okay, after you've made all your groups and counted to 100, take a picture, put it on Seesaw so we can all see your work. And remember, friends, you can also look at your classmates' work and you can write comments in there, or you can record yourself saying something that you notice, like, wow, you found cereal. I'd use cereal too. Anything you notice and you want to comment, that's fine. So we have read Iggy Peck and Rosie Revere. Today we're going to read Ada Twist, Scientist. Did we read this one together in the classroom? I think we did. At least we started it, but I don't remember if we finished it. So here is Ada Twist, Scientist. Here's our friend, Miss Lila Greer, that poor second grade teacher who's always having adventures in her classroom with her kids. Ada Twist, Scientist by Andrea Beatty and illustrated by David Roberts. I'm going to have a little water before I start reading. Ada Marie, said not a word till the day she turned 3. She bounced in her crib and looked all around, observing the world but not making a sound. She learned how to climb and made her big break with a trail of chaos left in her wake. She ran through the day chasing each sound and sight and didn't slow down till she conked out at night. Looks like that's her big brother. Her parents were frazzled, but tried not to freak as Ada grew bigger and still did not speak. Clearly, young Ada, with lots in her head, would have something to say when it ought to be said. This happens sometimes when kids are babies. They don't talk for a long time, and then one day... That's just what happened when Ada turned 3. She tore through the house on a fact-finding spree and climbed up the clock just as high as she could. Her parents yelled, "Stop!" as all good parents would. Ada's chin quivered, but she did not cry. She took a deep breath and she simply asked, "Why?" Why does it tick and why does it talk? Why don't we call it a granddaughter clock? Why are there pointy things stuck to a rose? Why are there hairs up inside of your nose? She started with why, and then what, how, and when. By bedtime, she came back to why once again. She drifted to sleep as her dazed parents smiled at the curious thoughts of their curious child who wanted to know what the world was about. They kissed her and whispered, "You'll figure it out." She has so many questions. And you know, to be a good scientist, we always start by asking questions, right? Just like Doug does on Mystery Science. He always asks a question, and then he tells us, what does he always say? Stay curious. Her parents kept up with their high-flying kid, whose questions and chaos both grew as she did. Look at all these questions. Why does it? How? How does it? Why won't it? What does it do? What is it for? What? How? When? Why? Even Miss Greer found her hands were quite full when young Ada's chaos wreaked havoc at school. But this much was clear about Miss Ada Twist. She had all the traits of a great scientist. There's Miss Greer. Oh no! And here's all the kids from grade 2. Let's see if we recognize anybody in there. Do you see Iggy? He must be in the back somewhere. I think I see Rosie Revere back there, right? Ada was busy that first day of spring, testing the sounds that make mockingbirds sing. That's an interesting question. When a horrible stench whacked her right in the nose, a pungent aroma that curled up her toes. "Zowie," said Ada, which got her to thinking, what is the source of all of that stinking? How does a nose know there's something to smell? And does it still stink if there's no nose to tell? She rattled off questions and tapped on her chin. She'd start at the start where she ought to begin. A mystery, a riddle, a puzzle, a quest. This was the moment that Ada loved best. What is that smell? You might have an idea what that smell is too. Ada did research to learn all she could of smelling and smells, both the stinky and good. One hypothesis Ada thought could be true. The terrible stink came from Dad's cabbage stew. She tested and tested, but soon Ada knew it was time to come up with hypothesis 2. Then zowie! The stink struck again, just like that. Hypothesis 2. It is caused by the cat. The cat couldn't make such a stink on its own. It needed perfume and some fancy cologne. So young Ada tested. The test was a flop. She started again, but her parents yelled, read it with me, "Stop! Don't put your cat in the dryer." Or your dog. Ada Marie, to the thinking chair now by the time we count 3. Enough, said her mother. That's it, said her dad. Her parents were frustrated, frazzled, and mad. Why? Ada questioned. Her mother said no. What? Ada queried. Her father said go. You've ruined our supper. You've made the cat stink. Enough with your questions. Now sit there and think. She looked at her parents. Her heart turned to goo. Poor Ada Twist didn't know what to do. She has to go to timeout. She sat all alone by herself in the hall, and Ada, once more, could say nothing at all. And so Ada sat, and she sat, and she sat. And she thought about science and Stu and the cat and how her experiments made such a big mess. Does it have to be so? Is that part of success? Are messes a problem? And while she was thinking, what was the source of that terrible stinking? Ada Marie did what scientists do. She asked a small question, and then she asked two. And each of those led her to 3 questions more, and some of those questions resulted in 4. As Ada got thinking, she really dug in. She scribbled her questions and tapped on her chin. She started at why, and then what, how, and when. At the end of the hall, she reached why once again. She has so many questions. I need to drink some more water. Her parents calmed down and they came back to talk. They looked at the hallway and just had to gawk. Gawk means staring. No patch of bare paint could be seen on the wall. The thinking chair now was the great thinking hall. She wrote all her ideas on the wall. They watched their young daughter and sighed as they did. What could they do with this curious kid who wanted to know what the world was about? They smiled and whispered, "We'll figure it out." And that's what they did, because that's what you do when your kid has a passion and a heart that is true. They remade their world. Now they're all in on the act of helping young Ada sort fiction from fact. She asks lots of questions. How could she resist? It's all in the heart of a young scientist. Now she has a really giant piece of paper to write all her questions on. And it looks like Mom and Dad are helping her do some research and reading some books. And as for that smell, what can Ada Twist do but learn all she can with her friends in grade 2? Will they discover the stink that curls toes? Well, that is the question. And someday, who knows? Here's all the friends in grade 2. There's Ada Twist trying to figure out what's so stinky. There's Rosie Revere right next to her. Is Iggy Peck there? There he is. There's Iggy Peck with his pencil to make his designs. Do you think she'll figure it out? Do you have an idea what was so stinky? I bet you do. All right, friends, that was Ada Twist, Scientist. I hope you enjoyed that. And I can't wait to see your collections of 100 things on Seesaw today. See you tomorrow. Bye.